Look, I'm just a believer that as long as I keep wearing this shirt during PlayStation events, it's going to happen. I believe in my raccoon. He's coming back.
Tell me, stranger, what's your name?
Why ruin the moment?
PlayStation did a lot of really exciting things today. Just the way they delivered the information we were looking for was incredibly puzzling, right? Imagine you order a little bit of pizza. You're expecting the pizza delivery guy to knock on your front door. Here's your food, man. But instead, what he does is he drives through the front of your house. You're like, okay, I still got my pizza, but why'd you have to destroy my house in the process? Kind of what PlayStation did. Maybe a little bit hyperbolic, but when it came to looking for like launch games, any semblance of dates, pricing, it was non-existent during the actual showcase. It wasn't until after the fact that we signed onto Twitter during our reaction stream that all the information came out. And all of it came from Jeff Keighley, of all places, not even PlayStation, to start things off. So we're going to be going over a lot of information today, from the games that were shown at the showcase to the actual launch games, the prices of the launch games, discussing the prices of the consoles themselves, just lots of things to discuss here. So I hope you guys are cozy. I hope you're excited. We got a lot to go over. Hot takes aplenty. Let's get it started with, of course, the console pricing. This was a discussion that was up in the air. Would PlayStation do a last-minute cut of their price and try to go beneath Xbox? That will not be the case, as the standard version of the PlayStation 5 will be $500, just like the Series X. So you're paying for that disc drive. It is the price we pay, literally, as physical game collectors. Meanwhile, digital, if you're one of those people, you get it for $400, which is still way above the price of the Xbox Series S. Now, there isn't any compromise on specs, which is why the price is a little bit higher when it comes to the PlayStation 5 digital edition. So it's one of those things where you want to kind of match your situation. For me, I like to buy physical games, so I'm absolutely going to buy the disc version, we'll say, of the PlayStation 5, but I totally understand the value and the great offer it is to buy into one of these digital consoles. I wish I was like that. I wish I was smart, but I'm not going to be. Even more interesting, pre-orders start tomorrow. So I hope you guys got money, because these things are not going to sit on the shelves long. I don't expect that at all. Like I said, Jeff Keighley popped off on Twitter. Like, we were all kind of sad after the showcase. We were thinking, man, these games, they're great, but where are the dates? Why am I going to buy a PS5? And then all of a sudden he shows up, and here we are learning that Demon's Souls is a launch title. Spider-Man Miles Morales is a launch title. Furthermore, so is Astro's Playroom. So is Destruction All-Stars. There is also the Miles Morales Ultimate Edition, which comes with a remaster of the PS4 version of Spider-Man. And Sackboy: A Big Adventure will be available on launch day for the PlayStation 5. Not only that, but they also announced the PlayStation Plus collection, which includes the likes of God of War, Uncharted 4, Bloodborne, which will be playable day one, kind of like PlayStation's counter to Game Pass in a way, but all that will be available on launch day. So PlayStation's got a nice little offering here for the PlayStation Plus collection. I think that it needs a little bit more, if I'm honest with you guys, but they also have the exclusives like Demon's Souls, like Miles Morales, which I think makes it a lot easier to buy into. What's more interesting is the pricing. The pricing is a point of contingence for a lot of people, as we're seeing a variety of them. We're seeing $70, we're seeing $50, we're seeing $60. Apparently, it's up to the companies what they want to price their games at, but $70 games are well on their way. This has been discussed a lot this year. It was mostly expected by a lot of us, but some people pushed back. With the prices of game development going up, naturally, so are these games. So yeah, definitely a hard pill to swallow. I totally am in the camp of, I understand the attraction of $60. We've seen that for so long. It's going to take a while to get used to 70. What really doesn't bother me is these exclusives, these bigger productions being $70. It's the likes of like NBA 2K, which goes up to 70, and they're saying, we offer next-gen experience. You just want my money, bro. Shut up. Additionally, and then we'll talk about some of the games shown off during the showcase, PlayStation confirmed that we're actually going to get a PS4 version of Miles Morales, Sackboy, and most surprisingly, Horizon Forbidden West. A lot of people were very convinced that Horizon was supposed to be the big first PS5 exclusive, right? Like the one that you could not simply imagine running on a PS4. And a lot of folks, myself included, were very disappointed, because now it's one of those Halo Infinite situations where you know that the prior generation of consoles is going to hold back what this game could really try to do. Reports have started to come in that this was originally supposed to be a PS4 game, but then they migrated it over to PlayStation 5. What's interesting here that I don't see anyone talking about is you have the PlayStation Plus collection. You have these games that are offering these free upgrades, like same here with Sackboy, Miles Morales, and Horizon. These are free upgrades, but when it comes to Spider-Man PS4, it's yet to be confirmed if I can take that Spider-Man PS4 disc, slide it in, and get the free upgrades that come with the remaster, or if it's only available with the Ultimate Edition of Miles Morales. That's what kind of has me a little bit puzzled. Is it the end of the world? No, but it seems like Sony's trying to up the offering on Miles Morales because it may not be as big of a game as people are anticipating, and so they're lopping it in with the package so people go, oh, $10 more, sure, I'll go ahead and pick up Spider-Man PS4 as well. It's good for people who haven't played it, but the game sold stupidly well. That's hard to imagine PlayStation fans who haven't. Now, with a lot of the initial PlayStation 5 info out there, let's talk about the games. Demon Souls Remake. Oh boy, I was losing it during my stream. This game looks clean. It was, for me personally, what I needed to be convinced to buy this system day one as a consumer, right? Like, I get this is my job, so I planned on picking it up anyway, but as a consumer, I was like, dude, Demon Souls day one, like, I'll actually be excited. When it came to the last generation where I bought the Xbox One day one, I know, right? But when I bought the Xbox One day one, it was for like Dead Rising 3, and to think like I'm getting a remake of a Souls game day one with a Spider-Man game, that's so exciting. Like, that, to me, that's a great offering. And I know for some people it's like, you're gonna spend $500 on 2 games. It's like, don't blow up my spot like that, man. Let me have fun. In all seriousness, it is smart to hold on to your money. I would suggest that. Do as I say, don't do as I do, is how the phrase goes. But Demon Souls Remake looks beyond clean. I was really excited what they had there. Visually speaking, the lighting, the texture detail, the way the enemies were animated when they died. It wasn't just like this one ragdoll physics. Like, it just reacted perfectly to how your blade cut through them. You could even hear the character you're playing as grunting a little bit. And like, I don't know, that just sounded so fucking cool. Like, I just really liked what they did with this game. So I'm super excited to redeem myself. I got my butt kicked on the PS3 with this game. I actually never beat it. So this is my chance, my redemption arc, to go in here and actually tinker around with this game and complete a job left unfinished. Miles Morales, on the other hand, I was really excited about during the combat, the music that kicked in, the beat was fresh, but it was those quick time events. All I'm saying, bro, all I'm saying is a lot of people were very quick to leap onto social media and hate on Avengers for its QTEs. I think that was the least of its issues, if I'm honest with you, because there were so many other problems with the game. But people were very quick to blow up that game spot. And I just want to see, you know, keep in mind, the same people who were quick to complain about Avengers, watch how they react to Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was loaded up with QuickTime events. And mind you, this comes after a lot of people voiced their concern for how Spider-Man PS4 and its E3 demo had a lot of QTEs. So I don't know why they kept that up here. Maybe it sells to more casual people. I don't think the whole game's going to be riddled with it. I'm excited because Spider-Man PS4 was like a dream game for me. Yuri Lowenthal, favorite actor of all time, playing as Spider-Man, my favorite superhero of all time. In New York City, my favorite city in the entire world. It just honestly all matched together, and it was one of my favorite games ever. And so I'm excited for more of that, but I feel like Miles Morales might, I don't know, like when I saw the QTEs and then I saw the villain offering, I was like, something just feels a little off about this. But gameplay wise, more of what I liked, so I'm cool with that. The real star of the show, though, okay, I know I just lost my mind over Demon Souls, but the real star of the show, Final Fantasy 16. Say it with me, the best Final Fantasy games are the most mature ones. This title is headed up by Naoki Yoshida, who helped save Final Fantasy 14, okay? That's all you need to know as someone who has played a little bit of the MMO. But you hear people endlessly raving about how good the expansions are with that game. And the fact that the trailer was gritty, right? Like it had a medieval feel. The combat looked so slick, like Witcher, but more acrobatic. The fact that there was blood, it felt like there was a real conflict, a struggle going on. I was immediately like going, whoa, wait, this is a Final Fantasy game? Okay. Like, what a change in tone from Final Fantasy 15, which is like, what's up, bro? Yeah. Like, it's totally different now, and I like it. I'm here for it. These are my favorite Final Fantasy games. Like, for example, Final Fantasy Type 0, one of my favorite Final Fantasy games. I felt that one had a lot of grit to it. It was formerly a PSP game, ported to the PS4. Of course, Final Fantasy 7, mainly Crisis Core. Crisis Core, baby. Something about these PSP Final Fantasy games. They are really good. So to have a mainline Final Fantasy game with some edge to it, some maturity to it, I'm here for. Game looks fantastic. Hogwarts Legacy finally revealed after a leak like, what, 2 years ago now? It's finally happening. The Harry Potter RPG is out there. As an RPG fan, I'm stoked. As a, I'll admit, new Harry Potter fan. I've only seen the first 3-4 movies. I know, and it's kind of sad. My girlfriend, diehard Harry Potter fan. My brother, biggest Harry Potter fan I think I've ever met in my entire life. He just rewatches the movies like it's no problem, and he's read all the books. Like, I'm surrounded by Harry Potter fans wherever I go. One of my best friends is a Harry Potter fan, like everywhere I go. So I'm trying my best, and I feel like the game will be that beautiful gateway into really falling in love with the world. But I gotta watch the movies first. I get it. I get it. Everyone can look down at me about it. I get it. But still, this game looks awesome. As a role-playing game fan, I think the universe is ripe for it with the way you create your character. You can choose your school. I don't know. I'm not going to get too much into the terminology of things before I embarrass myself. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not going to talk out my butt, but I really liked what I saw from this game. I was happy to see that we didn't see the same trailer that was leaked years ago. It looks like compared to that versus what we see nowadays, that it's made a lot of progress. It looks a lot better. It's coming from Avalanche, which is pretty neat, and I think this game's going to be a good one. Keep your eye on it. Oddworld Soulstorm also was there, and this is one that I think is flying under way too many people's radars. The Oddworld series is so good. It's so unique. It's very dark. I started off the series with Munch's Odyssey. It was a 3D platformer, and it's this mixture of, like I said, platforming, but there's also puzzle elements. And what your goal is to save the Mudokons, pretty much. Each level is about saving the Mudokons without getting into plot details. And the way that it can just kind of, we'll say, cut deep and get serious real fast caught me off guard, especially as a kid. And then there's Stranger's Wrath, which is a first-person / third-person game that I think is probably the most accessible entry. And then when I look at Soulstorm, like, I just feel like everyone's going to die in this game, man. Like, it's so heavy. But if you're invested in Oddworld lore and stuff, you'll probably be geeking out with me. If you're not, I'd say do look into the Oddworld universe. This game looked really good. And the last reveal they saved for the end, which definitely didn't hit as hard as it could have if I knew, for example, that the system was launching with Miles Morales, with Demon's Souls, and a lot of the games that we saw there were coming in their respective windows. If I had a better idea of that, I'm sure that the God of War 2 Ragnarok announcement would have smacked me in the face. I am one of the people who really liked God of War on PS4, but I think I'm more critical of it. Now, I don't say this in an elitist standpoint, but I platinumed the game. I don't know how many people did. I'm not saying people who love the game a ton didn't platinum it, but when I went through the Valkyrie fights, I felt that highlighted some issues in the one-on-one combat with the game. I had some issues with Niflheim. I felt like it was sort of what Bloodborne did, where they had those chalice dungeons, and you're like, why is this here? This is horrible for the game. I didn't like the semi-open world structure that the first God of War had. So there were some flaws with it, but overall, it was an incredible game still. It was a game that I, without any hesitation, recommended. I just don't think I'm as over the moon on it. Like, a lot of people call it game of the generation. I don't really co-sign to that. I think there were a lot more blatant design issues with it, but that's just me, right? But I feel like this announcement could have hit a lot harder if I had the initial details to go, okay, we know what we're getting now, and then we know what we're getting down the line between Horizon, God of War. And this is going sort of how I predicted on the podcast, where PlayStation is just going to take those established IP from the PS4. We're going to move it, boom, right into the PS5, and we're just going to keep adding new entries to those established series. I think that's totally fine. And 2021 for God of War, that I didn't see that one coming, man. I thought that game was a ways off, especially with how successful God of War was. I thought to myself, they're really going to take their time with it, but it makes sense. 2021, it'll be 4 years since God of War had released. So, ladies and gentlemen, I passed it to you. Thank you to those of you who watched the entirety of this video as I lost my mind, rambled, ranted, all that stuff. Appreciate you. Love you all. And now, pass it off to you. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Did you enjoy the showcase? Fire away. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all the patrons who continue to absolutely kill it with the support. Same thing with all of you new members. I appreciate you guys, and I'll talk with you soon. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.